Welcome everyone, this is the life story of Jake Kelton. He was born, he screamed, now he screams at a computer. It's good times. Good times.
No one's sure why he is this way. All we know is he is this way.
Is this way. Also,
it shows like your mom coming on. Oh, whoops. What's that? Shows like your mom coming on. He has been screaming as long as I remember.
He's been screaming his whole life. Yeah, it's like one of those interview things, and it's just like, you know, Jake is not his real name, but he's now, I call him Jake now, because that's just the identity that's taken over, and he casts everything. I just don't understand what's gotten into him. And I'm sitting there, like, eating breakfast, like, oh, he picks up the food, he's putting it in his mouth, that is some delicious Captain Crunch.
What?
And she's like doing the laundry, and she's like, oh mother, she's picking up a t-shirt, she's folding one sleeve over, she's got the left sleeve, ladies and gentlemen, she's folded t-shirt number 4. And she's just like, I don't sleep anymore. And then I'm like sitting next to the bed going, oh, she's breathing in, she's snoring, she's sleeping, ladies and gentlemen, and she's like wide awake, eyes blinking, like, I can't sleep. I can't deal with
Jake,
this.
go to your room.
Now she's yelling at Jake to leave the room. Okay, to this game, we have the Vladimir and the Evelyn and Yumi bandway by the side of Team Fennec. And then on the side of Team HERPADURP, we've got the Galio and the Zoe Antley all taken away. Lots of mid laners bandway, though I did recently play a Galio support game just for the lulz, and he's still fairly strong, even with the you can no longer flash while taunting. There's a lot of plays you can still set up, such as a flash Q into taunt, which is a pretty decent setup for the knock up on Q before getting the taunt off as well. Just gives them like half a second to flash.
Also, I mean, I guess, like, you know, Galio did get slightly buffed. I really don't think the change was that big a deal. They made it so his passive now scales with your CDR. It didn't before, so now if you have like 40% CDR, that goes down to approximately like 3.2 seconds or something like that, or no, just 3 seconds flat. But I don't really think it's because you're gonna see Galio being played a ton. I do think that there are still a lot of better options in the mid and support role. We do see the Bard and Vel'Koz getting locked in. Typically, if you see a first pick Bard, it most likely means you've got like a Bard main or something like that in the bot lane. So this could be a flex pick Vel'Koz. It could be mid, could be support. Look, well, Thresh does get locked.
Top lane Thresh, bot lane support Vel'Koz. I'm liking the combination so far. You got the glowy green man, you got the glowy purple man, you got some hooks and lasers, you know, kind of like, you know, Hooks and Ladders, that board game that nobody played because everyone played Snakes and Ladders instead. But, you know, Hook and Ladders is close enough. Sivir being locked in, paired up with a Bard. I'm a decent fan of that. I think Ezreal's a safer pick with the Bard because he can solo lane pretty easily, but Sivir still has good wave clear, has a spell shield to stay alive, and Sivir's just overall a very nice pick into a Thresh.
Yes, I mean, yeah, you have the spell shield to get the Thresh death sentence. You also do scale really well into the late game. You're usually not as abusive in lane. You can be for super aggro, but you're really mana hungry. Yasuo getting locked in so far. So far for Team Fennec, we have a really hard scaling composition coming out with both the Yasuo and Sivir, who scale obviously incredibly well into the late game. Vel'Koz in response does also scale pretty hard, but I don't really think that they're going to be able to so far compete in damage, obviously, as the game goes on. I'm expecting for Red side here to pick up something more aggressive in the top lane, perhaps maybe like even an Aatrox who's still available.
But the Thresh is top lane.
Oh, true, Thresh top lane. So I'd like to see like a Pike come out in support role, maybe like a Draven paired with it. Oh, that'd be spicy.
That'd be pretty spicy. I do like the Gragas picked up, though, by Briar. He has dominated in the stream before with this Gragas. Super aggressive, full damage build. Now, it doesn't necessarily synergize the best with the Thresher of Vel'Koz, considering that sometimes his ultimate can knock them out of their damage, but even still, he's quite adept at bursting people, and unless Sivir lands a really good spell shield, she might just be gone to the Gragas, and Bard is another champion that Gragas is going to be keeping his eyes on for that burst potential, as Lissandra and Echo being taken away by Team HERPADURP, and Twisted Fate, the new TFT champion until the most recent patch, taken away, as well as that Ezreal. Welcome back, Smartest. I definitely wouldn't have been able to get through this cast without your genius intellect, as you are the smartest. So, you know, I'm glad that you're back. I appreciate that.
All right, so there's the
You called
Aatrox.
it. See?
Oh,
3,000 IQ. What did I just say?
3,000 IQ. As Lysandra and Echo are banned. I probably already went over that along with the TF and Ezreal. You probably also went over that because you were Pog. But 80 carry being held till last hit, which is pretty interesting coming out of HERPADURP. Oh, sorry. HERPADURP.
There you go.
With the last pick, 80 carry. Nico is most likely going to go into the top lane into the Aatrox. It is a really strong pick into Aatrox if you are able to really play around your snare really well, not get too close to get. Because I mean, if you get hit by the problem with Aatrox, if you get hit by one of the Qs, you're most likely going to hit by all three of them as Nico. It's really hard to get away from that. You don't have any dashes or escapes. You only have your clone, and even then, you usually get hit by the AOE. So. As a J4 does come in to guarantee a knock-up for the Yasuo as well. So really good composition coming out of Team Fennec so far.
Yeah, I'm liking it, but the one thing they don't have is a front line. Besides that, Jarvan, unless he goes full-on tank, even that tankiness might not be able to deal with the Aatrox and the CC that the Thresh can bring. And we have the yet-to-be-reworked Pantheon coming in. Quick note on that. I think about 2 games ago when I played, there was a Pantheon in a normals game that actually decimated. Now, part of that was because he got a huge lead, level 1. We were able to kill the enemy team jungler, and he was able to 3-buff the Kindred as well.
Pantheon on the bot lane.
But it's no ADC, at least for the side of Team HERPADURP, and we'll have to see where they actually go. It might be a Pantheon. I mean, right now he's looking to be in the jungle, so that might be a Gragas mid lane, Vel'Koz Thresh bot lane, Aatrox top lane.
Or what if it's Gragas the top lane with an Aatrox Thresh in the bot lane?
I'd rather see the Vel'Koz bot lane, and the reason why is because Lord Reeves has played Veigar down there a bunch. So
fair.
It could also be the Thresh ADC with the Vel'Koz support, but considering the Vel'Koz is taking that TP, my best guess is that it's a Vel'Koz carry with a Thresh support. So let's actually, while we're saying all this, run through the players and their champions and then discuss the compositions, because both of them have some very interesting ones that can lead to some pretty explosive team fights. For the side of Fennec, we've got ourselves Mr. Big B1 in the top, bottom lane supportive role. I was thinking LCS roles. Bard as the Fennec himself, 27, going to be taking the Sivir and the 80 carry role. Sleepily on the Nico into the top lane, or could be potentially mid lane. My best guess is, actually, I'm going to say top lane. NACL Lake City with the Jarvan in the jungle, and top is GG playing the Yasuo. See, he's taking the TP. And I gotta say, I just have this feeling. I just have this feeling that it's gonna be Yasuo top lane, Nico mid. Just a feeling.
I like how you said let's run through the rosters and then took the easy team.
I always do the bluff side. I always do blue side. That's how I always do.
The bluff side?
The blue side.
Alright, so now for Team HERPADURP, we have Lord Reeves running the Vel'Koz, Never on the Thresh, Briar on the Gragas, Razel on Aatrox, and Dr. Monaco on Pantheon, jungle.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Because I don't know, the smite in lane to be able to grab those cannon minions could be a thing. Just saying.
Oh, true. Back when, maybe it's actually top Pantheon running old school strat when you teach stick smite in the top lane.
You clear that wave super fast. Run hard.
Yeah. Top laner would start a camp and then go top. Back would do like TP smite. Strats. Alright, so I mean, we basically have here Team Fennec who's running an actual composition versus Team HERPADURP it's like a G2-esque cheese comp. Now, most people would say, and for this reason, the standard composition is going to excel here and decimate the enemy team. Like every other season in the past would tell you. However, we are now in a meta where G2, the crazy cheese team, is standing on top of the world and saying, listen, there's something here. There's something about these strats. Therefore, my money goes on the wonkified team comp of Team HERPADURP.
Oh, well, I'm going to support Team Fennec simply because I think that their team fight has some real potential, and why that is because you look at their CC lock, right? It's good to be able to, tank up the Aatrox, the Pantheon, find some CC, but if you are CC locked between the Bard Qs, the Nico roots, the Jarvan knockups, Cataclysm as well, and the Yasuo tornadoes, that is a very, very powerful combination. The problem for the side of Team Fennec is that they're going to have to play around their cooldowns, because if they don't have those roots and snares and hooks and everything up and available, it's very easy for one person to get bursted by Gragas, or one person to be jumped on by Pantheon, stunned, set up for the Thresh Death Sentence, one person to fall to one of those members and get picked off by HERPADURP. And the other issue is that Vel'Koz can still, in a big 5v5 fight, unless he is stunned, a root's not going to do it, a knockup will only do it for a second, unless he's stunned, he's still going to be able to get that laser off and really just tear through your health, because the one thing that Fennec is lacking is health.
Yeah, absolutely. But the one thing I do want to point out for Team Fennec is they do have the J4, who I really want to see go full tank. You kind of touched on a little bit of Champ Select, saying, you know, it really the only front line available for Team Fennec is that J4, who even with, if he goes full tank, eating Vel'Koz and Aatrox is going to be a pretty tough thing to do. I think that they have enough damage follow-up with it that it won't necessarily be a problem. The one thing about going full tank J4 is that it enables you to not be scared to initiate. You know, when you play full tank J4, the second you see someone, you're able to pull that trigger and look for the opportunity, whereas if you are like Bruiser, AD-esque J4, you have to really be wary, almost like an assassin play style, really be wary of it as we do start to kind of load onto the Rift here. I'm really curious to see who goes where out of Team HERPADURP here. My expectations is the Aatrox top, possibly Gragas mid with, like you said, the Vel'Koz Thresh in the bot lane. I think that composition does make a lot of sense.
I'm also curious about this Nico and Yasuo, where they end up going. But we are on to the Rift for game number 1 of the night. Team Fennec taking on Team HERPADURP. And we'll see if we have any cheesy 5-mans. So far we
did call that.
3 grouping from the side of HERPADURP coming down into this bottom lane tri-brush and doing a little bit of an invade. I mean, they're just going to go straight on running in. However, they may run into multiple members of Team Fennec that are hanging just around the corner. Go ahead and switch.
Looks like it is actually Aatrox mid lane by the Gragas top. By the way, they are going to be spotted here.
Drop the ward. Bard's going to find a nice stun onto the Thresh, but he's still got the death sentence onto the Sivir. She's going to be in trouble. She's ignited, running away, but Fennec may just let herself die. They're going to get first blood, but the Pantheon may be quick to follow as well. Ignite taking away, but he's got a potion running. So Dr. Monaco might make it out Lake City. He's going to flash the wall, and there's the spear. Picking up 1 back for Team Fennec, but they did lose that first blood. And Jarvan's going to back away instead of sticking around for this red buff.
Yeah, I don't like this back, because his back means he's not going to get to his buff in time. He's backing here to pick up boots. He should have had enough to go. I guess he had 320 gold. You used to be able to get both the talisman and machete if you got first blood. So J4 is going to have a bit of a late start here. Pantheon is going to win that. I like the fact that instead of taking spear like you might expect most Pantheons to do, he actually took the Aegis of Zonia, which guaranteed the stun shield proc, right? So he was able to negate some damage, survive, as we saw for that long force of flash out of J4. It is actually Gragas top with the Aatrox mid, but you did call the, oh man, Monaco coming right in.
Pantheon into that mid lane. Sleepily gets the 2 roots though. Jarvan's got the knockup. He's got the red buff taken away as well. The spear for the Pantheon. Not going to be enough to take down Sleepily. Not Dr. Monaco will fall Sir Razel. Now going to be on the run as the red buff is slowing him as well. J4 continuing just to poke away. There's a Nico. She's waiting on the cooldowns from that root. He comes out and she'll pick up a kill as well. 2 more back as a great revenge gank from NACL Lake City. Shows up huge in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's kind of what feels bad, because that's really well played by Monaco, actually, putting tons of pressure early on. But like you said, the counter gank by Salt Lake City was huge there.
Yeah, I loved that. And the fact that Nico was able, now she did have to burn Flash, but that Flash repositioning to find the 2-man route on the way out, setting up Jarvan to come in as well, was beautiful. Now, you said that the Nico is favored into the match against Aatrox, so we were discussing that for the top lane, but should still be the same for the mid lane. The only issue is the junglers are now more participant in this mid lane. And added to that, now that the Aatrox doesn't have World Ender where he can revive after dying, he does have to play a little bit safer, because even post 6, he still has a chance to be taken down by the Jarvan.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other thing to keep in mind on that, though, is that because they're mid lane, I actually think it's even more Nico favored because Nico does, actually have the CC lockdown with the Tango Barbs, whereas Aatrox sort of has, I'll say like minor like, mini knock up CC that's fairly hard to hit. Whereas if Nico lands a snare, it's like a guaranteed gank, so I think it's still more Nico favored. The one thing I find interesting is the Comet coming out of Nico. Typically, if it's full AP Nico, you see Glacial Augment, and if it's AD on hit Nico, you see... Oh no.
Junglers having a little bit of a scuffle here. Dr. Monocle's been slowed for just a moment. We'll see if the Pantheon can turn this around, though the red buff falls off of Salt Lake City, so he actually won't chase that any further, despite getting Pantheon very, very low. However, members of HERPADURP were collapsing quickly. He's actually going to walk back forward as Pantheon is recalling. Is the spear going to come down in time? It is! You cannot chop out of a brush in the middle of your jungle. What are you doing? Now, a little bit on the bottom side. Mr. Big B knocked up. He might be going down. Nice heal will keep him alive as Lord Reeves got some serious poke onto that bard.
Another thing to note is that Salt Lake City did steal away the scuttle from Monocle as well. So Monocle is just having a really rough game, despite him actually positioning really well. Salt Lake City is just one step ahead of him, and maybe if it was a rework Pantheon, maybe it would be a different story.
We'll have to see if he can come back once he gets that nice 6. Briar going ahead and burning that flash on the top side as J4 once again ganking, this time in the top side. He's visited top and mid so far this game. I guess technically jungle as well, so no real action so far in the bottom lane. Farm, however, going in favor of Team HERPADURP as Lord Reeves doing a pretty good job of keeping these waves cleared.
Yeah, and also another thing to note in the top lane is Yasuo into Gragas is a pretty easy matchup for Yasuo, unless Gragas takes advantage of it early on and plays really aggressive. Oh, sorry, I was trying to find something.
Yeah, Nico used a nice camouflage once those chains went down. Pantheon is pinged out, though, seen by a ward, so good vision coverage by Team Fennec.
Yeah, and though what I was saying before is that I'm actually really surprised to see Gragas top taking the Ignite along with an Electrocute. I think even into Nico or Gragas, Nico or Yasuo, either lane, I would have liked to see a Grasp come out of Gragas because you are dashing into him trying to get some damage off. Whereas now because he's Electrocute, Domination Tree along with Ignite, he really has no defensive stats, making it really hard for him to survive this lane with the Yasuo. Because now he's and Yasuo can just sort of just jump at him whenever he wants to.
There are pings on the bottom side of Sivir's all alone, but Bar's actually going to see Pantheon coming around, knows that he's there. Can he find the stun? No, he actually just starts to walk away. A little bit surprised about that. However, Sivir was backing up very quickly, so no chance for a gank from Dr. Monocle in the bottom lane. Sleeping pulled back by the Infernal Chains, but Serazel just looking to push the wave out.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, coming back real quick to the Yasuo matchup, one thing to note is that now that Gragas didn't punish Yasuo early, we see this massive CS lead built up, a 20 CS lead, maybe like a 13, 14 CS lead after Gragas picks up this wave, is a free farm Yasuo is just as bad as like a free farm Nasus or something along those lines, where it becomes so difficult to shut him down once he gets this farmed up. He's at 51 CS at 6.5 minutes in. He's doing really, really well gold-wise. I would have actually liked to see him pick up a Cole early on because he knows this is sort of free late from the farm. I would have liked to see him pick an earlier Cole. He does like to go Berserker's Grooves, which does spike his early damage pretty significantly because he attack speed. The 3-0 J4 now, having the Caulfield's Hammer is really huge as well. And they have a really balanced damage at this point. They have a J4 who's really far ahead AD-wise. They have a Yasuo who's smashing lane. They have Sivir who is getting pressured by Vel'Koz, but overall the lane isn't too terrible.
J4 ganking that mid lane, but he only has that level 5, so no Cataclysm available. Just shoving Razel back. Didn't get the flash out, which I'm sure what they wanted, but still pretty happy about that. Quick note, Windrake up on the map. Not anyone's most excited monster on the Rift, but still available if a team decides and to find success, especially around the bottom side.
Yeah, Aatrox is going to really start struggling this lane at this point. AP Nico does so... Look
at this Pop Blossom Burst, and he's gone. Beautiful example from Sleepily. Thank you so much for setting that up. Perfectly timed for Smartest.
Perfectly timed. As I call it, yeah. I mean, AP Nico does stupid amounts of damage, especially once you get a lead like that. It's really... People often underestimate just how much that Q damage does, but at this point, there's not really going to be much for Aatrox to do because Aatrox's dash is so projected, so linear. it's really easy for Nico to land the barb onto him and just guarantee the easy triple Q on there. So it's going to take out like 600 plus damage at this point. So it's going to be really hard for Aatrox to do much. I actually wouldn't be too surprised to see a lane swap coming in between Gragas and Aatrox to get better matchups accordingly.
I'm almost surprised that hasn't happened earlier, because even though the Gragas is doing okay at the top lane, you can see that he's starting to fall behind in CS as well, down about 20 CS. Now J4 coming in that mid lane, flashing to make sure that knockup comes through, and they are continuing just to beat up in that mid lane, but the bot side's going to go one kill back to HERPADURP as they found themselves a nice laser onto Bard. The singing man himself sent singing back to the fountain.
Look at that damage. 3 hits, and that's half of Pantheon's health right there.
Oh, J4's coming to the bot side, finally visiting after a long time. We'll get the knockup out of the Thresh. He's looking for Lord Reeves as well, but I think that flash will save the Vel'Koz.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him give that kill over to Fennec, actually. Try and get Fennec a lead here. Bayer's going to try and look for the all-in. The 100-0 kill here. Does have flash available soon. Can elect to do the dash taunt play.
Just going to cancel the recall for now. Yeah, in the bot lane, that Thresh still had flash up and available, so Jarvan may have been concerned about the Thresh escaping similar to what the Vel'Koz did. After you drop that early EQ, you have to kind of wait around a while from that cooldown before you can do it a second time. And so as you play it safe, get the kill. As that recall canceled again by Briar, making sure the top is GG. Is having a little bit of a difficult time. Windrake picked up by Team Fennec. They are off to a nice 2,500 gold lead. And a little bit back to the side of Team HERPADURP. However, that's going to be traded over the mid lane. So Razor getting a bit of a dash there, but Nico not going to actually find the damage. One more auto attack was necessary. However, Cerezal flashed away, so did survive. But again, still losing out. Still down 25 CS.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised to see the Yasuo stay that long. Should respect a little bit more. Oh, no.
Pantheon out to the mid lane. That's going to be an easy, quick cleanup there. Yep. That nice AoE E to grab her, even if she is running with her camouflage, remember, as well. Yeah, pretty easy pickup there from the Pantheon.
But Nico did the cannon, so, you know,
important.
Worth.
Oh, absolutely.
Important.
I mean, cannon versus your life, definitely.
Always. Next Drake is going to be a mountain in 4 minutes. I do want to see J4. It looks like he's going to try and pressure bot here.
Oh, 3-member knock straight to the laser. The Bard is over the wall. Oh, I think that gate might have been the death of several members of Team Fennec. The flash force out of the Sivir as well. Spell shield not going to help her out all that much. Dr. Monaco around the corner, though. Yeah, I think Mr. Big B got a little bit too excited throwing out that magical journey.
Yeah, and I don't think there was much from do there. That 3-man knockup from Reeves followed into the life form disintegration room is so key. Just really beautiful play out of Reeves there.
Well, and then you're taking a magical journey into the disintegration ray. And I know in your head you're thinking, let's get through this and find his stun, because that's what Bard can do, throwing out those Qs. They're going to try to make a play on the bottom side. They actually gold card the Lord Reese for a moment, but he's got a nice lantern to follow through, but it's straight to the Cataclysm by the Jarvan. They got a double hook and double stun by Mr. Big B. Fennec's got 2 double kill for the Sivir. A great setup play from Team Fennec in the bot.
I'm actually really surprised to see Sivir rushing IE after that. I would have liked to see an Essence Reaver come down from Sivir here, get it a little bit further mana consumption-wise in the bot lane. And the top lane, I do want to note that even though Gragas did get that lead earlier on, he is going to start struggling here pretty soon into the Yasuo, because the problem with tank Gragas, who is going to go for the Iceborne, he might get a proto belt, we're probably going to see him go pretty tanky here, is that Yasuo scales too hard to the point where the shield alone will basically eat up most of the damage, especially once he gets any kind of lifesteal involved. It's going to be negligible damage towards him, and he's just going to come run you down 100-0. It's not going to be a fun time. So there is a ticking time bomb in this lane where at some point Gragas just can't contest him. I want to see Salt Lake City go up topside, get the rift, and try and get Yasuo some solo plate to help that lead come in sooner.
Yeah, there is still all 5 of those plates on the top side. Mid's down to 2 plates. Bottom side, only 1 plate has been taken away. But we're at that 13-minute mark where there's not much time left if you're going to be going for those plates. Farming the bot lane, still favoring the Vel'Koz by about that 20 CS. And there's the call you wanted for. NACL head to the top side. Nice dash, though, by Briar. Actually avoids the flag, and Drak throws out that ultimate, knocking the Jarvan away. So he should be able to escape unless Yasuo comes from behind.
Yeah, that is a Nico.
Yeah, that's Nico. She's swapping bodies at the moment, trying to figure out what she wants to do. So Razor's going to come in as well. Force the flash. She's got the root, though, down onto the Gragas. That's the last breath. Briar going to get some burst. The Ignite ticking away, but I think that little bit of a heal from the kill. No, Gragas did so good kill. Ignite ticks down and takes the Yasuo in a 1-for-1.
Yeah, look at this positioning set up by Team HERPADURP here. Looking for the dive onto Nico.
Let's see what Sleepily can do all alone. So Razel stops the world under Dr. Monocle is here, but a pop also into 2 members. The disintegration ray will not take her down. Cataclysm onto members underneath the turret. They still find that Nico, but it's a 1-for-1 trade at the moment. Sneezes in my ear as Fennec's picking up the bot lane plates. So good play there, attempt by HERPADURP, but they went in a little bit too aggressive. And again, this Jarvan constantly showing up at the right time, at the right spot, getting kills back for Team Fennec.
Yeah, that pop blossom was super key as well, locking down Monaco and Razel there. This is where sort of the lack of native carry is a little bit more prevalent. You had no one who was able to like nuke from over the wall. Reeves sort of hesitating, saying, do I go in? Do I follow this play up? It's a super risky play. And the hesitation definitely showed there, right? Out of Team HERPADURP, they're saying, people are calling this play, but I don't know how I feel about it. It's not. I don't think it's a greatest plays. And that sort of like scattered movement will lead to early deaths very easily. As Briar might be finding himself in a tough situation here, as it is possible for and Salt Lake City to rotate up.
With top as GG, the two of them both have some of that CC mixture as well as damage that could grab themselves that potential kill. They're looking for the Rift Herald at the moment. Quick note on that Jarvan, though. We've been kind of praising Salt Lake City for the last little bit here. 10 kill participation in 11 kills total. This guy has been all over the map, making action happen. Really a huge participant for Team Fennec. But that now could potentially be one of those sore spots if Team HERPADURP is able to grab that pick. They've got to pick instead onto the part of the bot lane, and he's going to be gone. The CC chain from HERPADURP's bot lane just way too strong for him to deal with.
Yeah, Reeves didn't even have Disintegration Ray available for that. Didn't even need it from how fast they burned him down. That is the one thing that Vel'Koz does so much damage to Amazon that, if he has Life Disintegration Ray in team fights, he can just nuke a team just by pushing R alone. So I really like to see him playing around his kit really well there. Also, we have to say Arnever has been looking for a lot of hooks. I like to see when Threshes don't just hold on to the death sentences. They look at every opportunity they have, as Monaco is trying to jump into mid lane here behind
Pantheon ultimate. We'll see if they can grab themselves Sleepily. The Rift Herald's still going to take the turret down, and that's going to be a pop. Blossom taking one back. Sleepily might be able to 1v2, but Razel's got the World Ender as well as a couple of those Dark Blades. Sleepily find the root, though. That's a lot of Q damage coming down. The flash for Razel. He's got one knockoff. He's got the second one as well. Clone not going to be able to do anything, so Razel will get one back, but that mid lane turret has gone down for first turret. Going to Team Fennec very quickly. A huge thank you to Dawn in the chat for the tier 1 sub. Getting my words mixed up for just a moment because we got a little bit of play there looking for Fennec forcing out on the hunt, but it is Team Fennec rotating and starting up that Mountain Drake. Already got it down and finished taking that for themselves. Second Drake as well.
Yeah, and I do like to see like on Monaco. We have been talking about how he's been struggling in this game in comparison to Salt Lake City, finding tons of opportunities. Salt Lake City does have an easier time closing the gap with the flag and drag. Monaco's best kit is the man drop coming in, which is also on a fairly long cooldown. The one thing to note is that once Monaco does scale up a little more, his mid game in this mid late game-ish is a lot stronger than J4's. He can come to the point where if he's able to find the Bard, he will base just 100-0.
And that's that worry from the side of Team Fennec. They're squishy members. The Bard, incredibly squishy. The Nico is still squishy. The Sivir, if she doesn't have that spell shield up, will be bursted down. So they need to play around these squishy members and either out-rotate members of HERPADURP or be able to never engage them fully in a straight up 5v5 fight. Because in a 5v5 fight, the health bars of Team HERPADURP will just straight up win.
Yeah, Black Cleaver is completed on Salt Lake City now, and I think that fight we just saw on the top lane, if top as GG managed to find the tornado onto Briar there, would have been able to go for the last breath under tower, which would have been huge. He would have at least 3 turret shots, probably would have guaranteed the kill. One thing to note in the matchup is also the teleport versus ignite difference. So if we do see Yasuo match the Gragas as the game goes on, it is going to be to the disadvantage of Team HERPADURP. I'm expecting either Reeves or Sir Razel to match him. The advantage of setting Reeves is that he can wave clear just as fast as Yasuo can. So you don't have to worry about engaging him and having to try and fight those fights. Sir Razel, I think, on Aatrox. Oh, man drop getting set up in the bot lane
Huge
here.
play in the bot. There comes that Pantheon. Bard gonna find that ult, knocking up Lord Reese for a moment, or at least making him go Golden Dr. Monocle, taking the Lantern to get out. There's the disintegration round to 2 members, and the Aatrox is here. But a great magical journey by Mr. Big B gets him out. Good Thresh play, pulling Lake City back in. The Sivir only throws out 1 Q, not gonna do enough to take 1 member down. Here comes Nico, though. She's hiding as that Sivir. We'll see what Sleepily can do. Decides not to go all in. Has the Pot Blossom available, but was a little bit concerned running into 4 members without that tank of the Jarvan.
Yeah, Sir Razel actually using the Dragon Blade to cancel Salt Lake City out of his flagon track. So that cleared the distance.
Okay, I thought it was the Flay, but I think you're right.
Yeah, so there was actually, it was actually the, oh, there's the combination. That is the one advantage AP Gragas does have. He can't 100 to 0 you if you have 50% HP. A little bit greedy by Tapasuchi there. Should have been more aware of that. Should have tried and at least wind-walled the barrel at the very least.
F's in chat for the poor Yasuo on the top side. Burned his tornado on the minions instead of saving it for the body slam by the Gragas, or as you said, wind-walling the barrel at least. Jarvan is coming around from behind. I think that's actually the Nico. It is the Nico. Sneakily, Sleepily, throwing out a couple of spells, seeing if they can maybe find Briar. He's going to body slam over the wall, but there's Nico right there. Jarvan coming in as well. He's got the Cataclysm, knocking him in dead because the body slam's already been used. No flash available. Briar will fall. Sticks around a little bit too long on the top side, gets collapsed upon, but what can Team HERPADURP find with every member of Team Fennec on the top side?
Okay, so Sivir did actually go for the Essence River Rush. I totally forgot that the itemization was changed for that. So just still have BF Sword and Agility Cloak both. So it is going to go for the Trinity Force next, which is a really common Sivir build right now. Essence Reaver starting to Triforce. So Ryza look for the opportunity. Last red.
There's J4 once again going over Salt Lake City. See what he can do. He's actually knocked backwards though by the Flay from the Thresh. That means that the fight will be fallen away. Neither team going to dive that much harder. There is Baron up on the map, but Team Fennec for now push members of HERPADURP out of that mid lane.
Yeah, and I really want to see Team Fennec at this point push towards that Ocean Drake, trying to get some vision set down. Ocean Drake doesn't help them a lot at this point, but it will allow them to set up for the next dragon, which hopefully, if it's another mountain or an Inferno, will help them out a lot more. Plus, I mean, the Ocean Drake with Sivir Bard, it's always a feels good.
They've got themselves that potential in about 30 seconds or so, a little bit past that. We are past that 20-minute mark. We're checking in on the gold difference between the two teams. It's still about 2,000 for the favor of Team Fennec, but in the early game, that 2,000 gold was actually higher as they started the game off 4-0. Mr. Big B, you're in trouble. No magical journey will save you this time around. Lord Reeves, that's that pop that we keep talking about on that super squishy Bard. He's died 4 times so far this game.
Yeah, 4 out of 12 of the deaths that exist right now. Camera's on. You say hi? No, I don't want to.
Well, too bad you said hi anyway. We can hear you on
Yes, he
stream.
said.
We got a little bit play on the top side. Wait, the Gragas ulti will miss. There's a Pantheon ultimate coming in, but he's underneath that turret as well. Here comes the Nico with the J4 skin at the moment. Lord Reeves coming around as well. Top is GG going to be in a lot of trouble. He might get jumped on. There's that Pantheon stun. He flashes. He might get away underneath that turret. Sleepily is there. Back in the Nico form. Do not try to defend the top lane turret. It's only a little bit of health left for it. Sleepily is still going to stick around, get some more poke onto Briar. Now they're leaving the Ocean Drake, going to the team on the bottom side of the map. So a lot of action from Team HERPADURP, bringing 4 members up, but a couple misplays between Briar on the Gragas and the Pantheon with that ultimate means that they end up not getting any kill, just that top lane turret. Total turrets are now 2-4-1, so Team Fennec in a really good position at this point. They still have that almost 2,000 gold lead, but some of these fights are still falling the way of, or at least going fairly even between the two teams. Baron live up on the map. Aatrox, Sir Razel, see what he can do. Are you still here, Smartest, or do you want me to solo fast? Okay, I wasn't sure, but that's totally fine.
Yeah, and I am actually, this is sort of what I expected to see, was a sort of back and forth. We saw Salt Lake City basically solo carrying the team early on. I'm actually pretty surprised that Team HERPADURP has been able to keep up with more, but it doesn't surprise me a ton. The reason for that is because in the top lane, we've seen Briar going this sort of APS route, which I don't really know why he opted for the Iceborne Gauntlet. At that point, I think a Lichbane would have been a lot more useful, because then his 100 to 0 threat does increase quite a bit. And, we've seen since level 1, Reeves and Arnever have been doing really well in this bot lane. We do have a 3-1 Sivir or Fennec doing really well as well.
Oh.
Early game, it was just Reeves popping off.
That's a knockback by Sivir. She was just able to get far enough away that she only got knocked side to side instead of knocked backwards. Briar's exploding cast was pretty close there, being able to find that pick. Multiple members of HERPADURP hanging around here. That mid lane, Salt Lake City gonna come on and use the on the hunt to chase on in. They're looking for the Thresh first. He flashes away, or never can he actually escape though. His health is pretty good, continuing to be poked away. Gets the play, gets that ultimate down as well. And they found Briar. That's gonna be Bard locking him up. Pantheon ult though, looking for the Sivir. No, that's Salt Lake City who goes golden, surviving for now as members collapse around him, defending him, getting the Jarvan out. So they've grabbed themselves 2 kills for Team Fennec, but the enemy jungler is still alive, so it would be a risk to head for the Baron.
Yeah, the best right now I want to see them do is really secure the vision line for it. Right now they have no vision in HERPADURP's red side jungle, so they have no idea where. If they can get vision basically of behind the Raptors, basically areas where Monaco can look for the man drop, that's really what's key for them. If they can see the man drop started, they know to pull back and collapse onto him and don't let him get that sort of rush. The one thing to note is all members of HERPADURP are sort of building this Bruiser-esque build. We actually even have Thresh with the Iceborne Gauntlet. So all of them are fairly tanky, can sort of frontline together. And what that means is you do have a team that can actually run forward pretty aggressively. So I'd like to see this sort of build style come out. We're most likely going to see Briar acting as the initiation tool for Team HERPADURP, as it looks like they are setting up a collapse and a survival here.
We'll see what they can do. Pop Blossom used very early, finding the root, setting up for the second root as well. Sleepily will take the kill. Once again, Salt Lake City showing up to help out as well. 14 of the 16 kills, or kill participation. This guy is actually insane, being everywhere for his team and really helping them out, but they've got to defend against a 4v3 in the mid lane. Now Briar going to be jumping forward. He's got the CC lock at the top to GG. However, he knocks him out of the disintegration ray. Something we talked about during picks and bans was the ability for Gragas to actually ruin some of his teammates' abilities. And with that, they don't find anything, not even the turret.
Yeah, but we do have Team Fennec trying to stall some of these backs, allow the J4 Nico to push up in the bot lane, which does secure them in tower. Now that they've broken the tier 2, one thing I do want to see Team Fennec do again is go for the vision line on the Baron. That is one of the crucial clones you have. The one problem that Team HERPADURP has is they have a terrible Baron clear time. They only have Pantheon and Vel'Koz. Aatrox is terrible at Baron. Gragas is terrible at Baron. Thresh is terrible at Baron. Even Pantheon is terrible at Baron. Vel'Koz being the only one that can actually do some percent health-based damage to try and spam abilities. So it's really
Pantheon
only Team
ult.
Fennec that can threaten.
All right, he's coming from behind the team in the jungle. See what he can actually find, though. Salt Lake City aggressively going forward. Drops the Cataclysm onto Dr. Monaco. The Pantheon might be in a little bit of trouble. Forced to flash away. A 3-man going golden as the Bard ult to make it a lock. Multiple members down. Setting up for Salt Lake City to come right back in. He should have another flag and drag. He doesn't need it because the Sivir is on a rampage. Double kill to the Sivir. Salt will get one as well. And Cerezla just has to walk away, watching his team get decimated. Now with the jungler down, they can turn for the Baron.
Yeah, and that really all got snowballed off of this overly aggressive man drop coming out of Monaco there. They didn't have the numbers advantage. If they had all 5, they might have been able to look for some sort of play with Briar. Oh, barely, Tornado barely missing. At this point, the only option is for Briar to look for a steal.
Oh, the Baron.
Quite find it.
Yeah, Baron's going to go down before any steal can come through. But that tempered fate by the Bard, setting up the team to just kind of walk up and say, all right, we're just waiting for them to come out of being going golden, and then we'll just take all those kills. Team Fennec doing a fantastic job so far. They've got a 7,000 gold lead. There are pings from HERPADURP onto the Ocean Drake. However, Team Fennec is right on their tail, and they're actually going to instead look for this mid lane.
Yeah, and also in that last fight, one thing to note as well is that Reeves really played that the best he could have. He landed the Tectonic Disruption onto the Nico who had flashed in trying to find the double Plot Blossom. Oh no, as a double stun does come down. After the lock coming in.
Gotta give some credit to Mr. Big B1. Despite the damage on Team HERPADURP still going up and having 4 early deaths, he's been able to position to make sure he doesn't get bursted down nearly as much these last couple of minutes. I think it's been about 8 minutes since his last death, so good overall team positioning, but still being able to participate. Are never hooked up, but that might be him going down. He thought he set his team up for the disintegration ray of the Vel'Koz over the wall, but they just walk away. Head right back to that mid lane. They've got the Baron buff. They've got the Ocean Drake. It's a double Ocean as well. They're in a commanding lead of this game.
Yeah, and it's really bad for Team Fennec that Reeves utilizes Disruption Ray because now they have no reliable way of
Tempered
these
Fate,
fights.
locking Sir Razel down. He's gonna flash away. Salt Lake City coming back up from the GA, but there's gonna be that blast going taking over Dr. Monocle's like, hold on, wait, you're here. As the Bard takes a magical journey out of a very dangerous position. All right, so it looks like Fennec is going to be backing away. I don't know why they didn't stick with that 5-man Baron straight into mid to take that second tier turret, as it does not have that much help, but the minions will grab it.
No, yeah, they definitely needed to siege this tower. I wanted to see them push even an inhib tower here, but they are choosing to play the safer route, pulling back. Let's see, about a little over a third Baron timer left here, I believe. They do try to pick the red buff as well. And one thing to note is, even though we see this at 28 minutes, we see an 8k gold lead. I don't think it's impossible for Team HERPADURP to come back from this. They do need to play around Falcaz a lot more, who is right now currently a big part, like really the main source of their damage. Oh, it simply finds a play to Never.
Our Never dropping very low. We'll see if he actually gets out as Sleepily drops that ultimate, the Pop Blossom, just to get the shield, and that's going to be Bard over the wall with the magical journey, setting up the double stun, saves his mid laner, and now Briar going to fall on the bot side as Cataclysm call from the J4. Fennec goes legendary with the kill onto the Vel'Koz. That save by Mr. Big B1 was absolutely popping, and now he's got a chance to catch Mr. Razel out as well. The Aatrox has been slow, drops the Infernal Chains. Mr. Big B1 doesn't even care about him, heads back to help out that second tier turret fall. Dr. Monaco split pushing into that mid lane, not going to fight all that much because Salt Lake City is on the bottom lane inhibitor turret, and the inhibitor, itself, as Team Fennec are just tearing HERPADURP apart.
Yeah, there's going to be a double inhib secured pretty easily by Team Fennec here. At this point, and after those kills and inhibs being up, it's now going to be a lot harder for Team HERPADURP to come back from this, even with the Vel'Koz being pretty strong. We do see Monaco now opting for a lot more of a defensive route, but going for that Randuin's next. But I think it's a little too late on that one, as we have an 8-1 Sivir with Triforce Essence Sivir completed, sitting on IE at the moment.
So Razel coming around from behind. The Infernal Chain's not going to find anyone. He's still going to be going forward with that World Ender, but then backs away as the rest of the team is not there to re-engage. Everyone a bit too slow to get out of the base to help out, but Pantheon's still going to be ulting on, and then immediately starts to walk away. He actually sidesteps the flag, and direct Death Sentence is going to land onto the Yasuo as well. Can they burst him down? He's got a nice wind wall. Disintegration Ray doesn't care about that, but Aatrox once again coming around the side. Not going to be able to fight all that much. Explosive cast from Gragas to disengage the fight.
And it was a little aggressive by Aatrox there too, jumping in with a World End, as you mentioned. Being triple inhib, I didn't expect Team Fennec to push for the third inhib, but it looks like it was the right call, as Team HERPADURP not being able to do much to stop them at this point. You do have the J4, who's able to front, 7-1 and 13 J4, who can just sit in the front line while Nico and Sivir just decimate anyone who tries to contest them. Even with Pantheon having the Warden's Mail and Giant spell, he's still not going to be able to compete with a J4, who is going to, at this point, have a shield amount of like 300 plus. It's just not going to matter.
Yeah, they are in a really commanding lead, and I really have to say I like that the Jarvan did decide to go with the more tanky route, didn't try to go full AD burst, because there could be just too many squishy members of Team Fennec, but he instead went with the GA, not only giving him the stats, but when he comes back up, the cooldowns on that flag and drag are back up for him to just go right back in again, and now he's also got himself that Knight's Vow to help himself out, and probably that Sivir or the Bard being a little bit tankier when they do these fights. But the outscaling, just pure damage as well as stats, should mean that Fennec has this game in the bag. Explosive casts from the Gragas, knocking several members back with the Bardist here for a couple of slows. Body slam will get the Briar out for now. Salt Lake City going to find Sir Razel, as once again the Aatrox is trying to get around from behind, but he cannot make those plays considering that they don't have the stats to actually fight a 5v5 right now.
And I don't think they will, right? At this point, I think the game is pretty much over, and now it's just a matter of when Team Fennec actually decides to push. Looks like they are going to opt to pick up the Baron, spawning in 12 seconds first, and guarantee the game with double supers plus the Baron buff. And I mean, Vel'Koz is the only member on Team HERPADURP that has any way of wave clearing Baron minions. And even then, with a Magic versus game, it's really hard for him to do that. I think this game is at this point pretty much over. Even the 0-4 Yasuo has sort of come online. Even with a wonky build of the Maw of Mormadius coming out there. I really don't think there's much Team HERPADURP can do here. J4 just found engage right away.
Yeah, it's a Cataclysm. You don't really have to care who it's on. However, they might have set themselves up to get that Disintegration and Ultimate Members. Pantheon going to be ulting on in, but there's still so many members of HERPADURP that are dropping. Dr. Marco going to fall next to Sleepily Goes Golden, surviving a barrage of damage. That's the magical journey by Mr. Big B1 to find a little bit of soul to Lord Breeze. First, the flash out of the Vel'Koz. Nico, no, it's a Sivir that's flashed over the wall. She just wants to auto him down, takes him out, and the man who is the team was named after will lead the final charge into the base of Team HERPADURP and take game number 1.
With an army of minions.
Oh, the screen goes dark. This is new for the patch. I haven't seen this before. It's not animated, though. Where's that victory animated scene? Come on now, Riot. Oh, well. Good enough.
Good enough. I don't want to see the damage charts here real quick. Oh.
You're going straight to stats?
Follow, but
Going
you
straight
must
to the
witness.
stats, checking it out. Waiting for you to load in here. There
I'm
we
on
go.
stats now.
Oh, if you look at the damage, I mean, it basically is just APC versus APC, right? Just Nico versus Vel'Koz here. You know, we talked about this a lot about the Sivir and how the Sivir was doing really, really well, but 29,000 damage coming out of Nico just goes to show how much pressure the Nico provided that game, almost doubling the Sivir's damage. You know, a lot of that is going to be the aggressive plays that were happening on the mid lane. You know, when you go from top lane to mid lane, like you mentioned, you do start having a lot more of team-oriented fights happening a lot sooner. You're not up there on the island of Sia at 28 minutes of the game. So a lot of that is going to be a big contributing factor. Also, you know, as we saw, the junglers are putting a lot of pressure on the mid lane as well, and we saw a lot of mid laners rotate down to the bot lane for some 3-man or 4-man ganks, where Nico was definitely a huge part of that, finding some of those pop blossoms, doing tons of damage. So overall, great play coming out of both teams, but we have to talk about the fact that early game, just Salt Lake City was across the map, just ganking left and right and finding good opportunities.
Well, the difference between the Nico and the Vel'Koz is when you look at the potential for jumping forward and starting a fight. If you look for HERPADURP, right, you do have the Gragas Body Slam or the Pantheon. Those are both decent champions for jumping forward and trying to start something, getting a little bit of CC lock for the Vel'Koz to follow up. However, Vel'Koz was locked in the bottom lane for so much of that game, whereas Nico was able to roam to those rivers, roam to the top side to help out in a couple of those fights and catch out Briar a couple of times, as well as bring multiple people in to help shut down the Aatrox. I think Aatrox was 1 and 4 in the early portion of the game. And so it's very difficult for the Vel'Koz to get as unlocked as the Nico. And then you compare what is their CC lock, right? The Nico has not only a very long range root, but the root will then bounce to another person behind it. It roots up multiple people, I believe. Is that right? I'm actually going totally crazy now for a second. Yeah, it doesn't Nico root hit 2 people? Well, it's like the Lux ult, or Lux root. But Vel'Koz, his AoE knockup is actually fairly short ranged. It isn't that long, and not nearly as long as the Nico root. And so the ability for Nico to actually follow up on a Jarvan Cataclysm, or a Jarvan EQ, or a Yasuo Tornado is so much easier than the Vel'Koz, who has to position to make sure, A, I don't just get immediately bursted down by the Nico, but B, I can add my own knockup and then survive long enough for my disintegration rate to actually do work. And then the last thing is, keep in mind, most of the later game fights actually happened in lanes. They were not in that jungle. And so positioning by Team Fennec to find fights in the lanes where it made it a lot more difficult for Vel'Koz to find good ults versus when you're all cramped into a very small lane in the jungle and that disintegration rate could just tear right through you. So much credit to Team Fennec for this game.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of it was, like you mentioned, them being able to get some gold onto Fennec, who was struggling early on, into Reeves and or Never. It was Team HERPADURP that had the strong advantage of the bot lane early on, but it was because of Salt Lake City coming down, they were able to get some gold onto Sivir. I think Sivir's first kill was a shutdown onto Pantheon or something like that, worth like 350 gold, which helped her get back into the game. And then from there were like tons of plates and rotate that in the top lane and basically snowball that lead forward. I think getting Sivir online was a huge factor there, a big part of that. And like you mentioned, overall, really well played by